I think everybody at some point in their life becomes a fundraiser for your child's school, for the, walkathon at work. Almost everybody gets into it one way or another. Some people, it's their whole deal, like it is for us. For others, it's just something that comes along with life. And it's really wonderful to know how to ask people for money in a way that you don't feel dread or resistance. There's a lot of baggage around fundraising. People don't even like the word, but we're trying to, transform that so everybody wants to do it, because we actually feel that fundraising is sacred work. Sacred work. When you really think about it, a fundraiser, someone who has the courage to ask for money for what they believe in, is someone who is willing and has the courage to reallocate or facilitate reallocating the world's financial resources away from what we fear and towards what we love. And so in this course, we'll give you a few tools and tips, but moreover, we're going to talk to you in a way that hopefully you love fundraising the way we do at the end of this, that you realize that it's about transforming people's lives, giving people an opportunity to use money in a way that's consistent with what they love, what they care about, who they are. And so we've developed key principles of fundraising, and it's very sacred to us. I actually consider it a little bit of a ministry. That's a little corny, but I kind of do. And it's sacred because it moves money towards what we all care about. We're usually raising money not just for something that we're sort of casually associated with. You don't get involved in fundraising unless you love, love, love what you're fundraising for. So we consider it sacred, we consider it almost kind of like holy, and we love it. We have fun doing it. And I'll say one other thing. It's in a particular sector in our world that's often called the nonprofit sector, or the not-for-profit sector, or the non-governmental sector. And I'm leaning over like this because we don't want to be in the non-sector or the not-for sector. So we call this sector the social profit sector rather than the nonprofit sector. And when we say social profit, we mean not only profit, because whether you're raising money for your child's Montessori school, or you're ending world hunger, or you're saving a river, you are generating a social profit. You're really generating a profit. But also, you are a social prophet. Prophet. You're someone who has the guts, the courage, the vision, the wherewithal to stand in the future, look back from there into the present, and bring that vision into reality now. So join us and become a social prophet with us here, and know that fundraising is really what unlocks people's longing to be of service to the world. Actually, that's what it's about. Unlocking people's longing to be of service to the world. And it takes a lot of deep, deep, deep listening.
Yeah, I'm glad. I want to say one thing about what this is and isn't, and that where our expertise, as Lynn said, is in one-on-one fundraising. It's to the individual. So a lot of money comes from foundations. A lot of money comes through grants. There's online fundraising. But at the end of the day, you're always talking to one person. So this whole fundraising from the heart is about transforming you, the fundraiser, you kind of the way you hold yourself as a fundraiser. And as Lynn said, yes, there'll be tips and tools, but that's not really what this is. It's not like do this, do this, do this. No, it's about transforming the way in which the conversation you have, how you show up, the way in which you relate to your financial partner or donor. I think one of the most vitally important things about fundraising is deep listening. When I first started with Lynn, I stalked her. I pretty much stalked her. I just followed her around. I would go to these meetings, major donors, and we'd be there with this potential donor for, an hour. And I would say for the first 50 minutes, Lynn did not say a word. I was dying in the other seat. Like, when is she going to ask? What is the deal? Isn't she like the queen of fundraising? Like, what's happening here? But she was listening for what the person on the other side of the table had to say, what it was they were all about, what were they there to hear, what would be a match for what Lynne had to say, or what Lynne was raising money for, what Lynne was passionate about. And I learned something so profound about fundraising, and absolutely key to it in all these principles that we're going to talk about, is effective and deep and committed listening. So for 50 minutes or so of an hour-long meeting, she would actually do nothing but listen to and listen for what was being said on the other side table and where that person was. And then there became that moment, that very specific moment when there was the listening, to share a compelling, irresistible conversation in ways in which they can participate financially in whatever it is Lynne was involved in or we're involved in. So I just want to say, when you said about the listening thing, that is like such a key point in fundraising.
Yeah.
Before we dig into these amazing principles.
Yeah. I want to say something else. It's okay when people say no. And, you don't like that. That's what you're looking for, a yes. But if you do a really good job, as Sara is saying, if you listen deeply to people and you pull out of them what they really, really care about, they may end up giving money to something different than what you're asking for. And that's a win too. Because what fundraising really is about is unlocking people's generosity, unlocking people's understanding that they can make a difference, unlocking this longing that everybody has to matter. And suppose you ask for ending world hunger, and at the end of the conversation they say, well, that's kind of not my deal. I'm into stopping the abuse of children, sexual abuse of children. And now that I've listened to you and heard you speak and kind of felt this in my heart, although I'm not going to make a contribution to you, thank you very much, I think I am going to make a contribution to that organization working with critically abused kids. And that's a win. There's a pie of resources, and it's not finite. It's a flow of financial resources for the things we most care about. And so if you believe deeply in something, if you have a profound commitment to it, you know how to fundraise, because it's from where you stand that you will come up with the conversation that'll really matter. And from deeply listening to the person whom you're talking to, you'll meet them where they are. You'll inspire them with what you stand for, and you'll unlock what everybody wants, and that is their heart, their soul, their longing for the world to work, to be unlocked and to find a path or a way that they can make a difference.
That's so true. I have to add one little thing there to
Yes.
the no. If the conversation is nourishing and people feel seen and heard, the no can also be an opportunity for them to know of someone to connect you to for that cause. So in other words, no, that isn't for me. I'm the Hunger Project, Pachamama Alliance. However, because of this deep, rich conversation, I can connect you to someone who would be perfect for your organization. So a no is really never a no, I don't think. I think it's like there's always opportunity within the no. So I just want to add that before we...
And I'll just also remind us all, and I have to remember this myself, even though it's very personal, what you care about, that's why you're fundraising for it, you're asking not for yourself, you're asking for what you are standing for. That is where you can find a sweet spot, which is a match between what you're standing for and the cause that you are fundraising for, and the listening of the person you're talking to. Somewhere in there is something we call the compelling, irresistible conversation for your work. And part of what we want to do here is help you find the compelling, irresistible conversation for your work that will allow you to be bold, that will allow you to talk to people that you're sometimes a little let's say, afraid of or a little intimidated by. And you can stand in something that's really meaningful to you, and whatever the outcome, you will have touched their heart, made a difference, and powerfully stand for or stood for what you believe in.
Yeah, and so, part of what we recommend and part of Fundraising from the Heart is designing what that is. Design that specific, compelling, irresistible conversation. Because again, that's what will raise money. Standing for what you love, standing for your work, sharing that with others is really the key to an authentic ask. And that comes from a beautiful, compelling, irresistible conversation.
I'll just remind myself and you
Yes.
that sometimes we ask the heavy lifting to be done by a video, by a brochure, by a PowerPoint. And yes, that's fantastic. However, when it comes right down to it, it's you, who you are, where you stand, the deep listening you have, and your commitment to the work that you're fundraising for.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this interview from the Commune podcast, then click subscribe and check out this video right here.